But it's becoming normal these days.
Anytime I talk to you, like
it's becoming normal these days.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we always told there's a fault somewhere. But anyway, we'll continue like that. But we'll be joined by the winners of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Prempeh College. They're joining us. They're time to glorify the Lord.
But we are still serving a living God.
Serving a living God, it did not happen this time around. So, not a bad one. I'm sure that, you live to fight another day.
Oh, certainly.
So you'll come back and, fight another day.
And speak about fighting, this week is said to be an action week in Parliament.
Yes, in Parliament. And has the budget been rejected or not? Well, we're finding out. On Friday night, the Speaker, when he put the question, said the motion has been lost, and it was and that indicated a rejection of the budget. Well, the majority says that is not the case. It's not constitutional. It's illegal. We'll find out just tomorrow. They'll be in Parliament, and we'll see what would transpire in Parliament. But stay with us here on the Super Morning Show, because we'll be telling you more about the 2022 budget rejection or non-rejection here on the Super Morning Show. Time now for the...
Good morning. Welcome to the Joy Business Report. Coming up, Ghana cedi under intense pressure in the past week due to elevated corporate demand for US dollar and other factors as Bloomberg ranks it among African currencies with worst spot returns. We'll tell you about it. Also coming up, government expected to make some changes to tax on electronic transactions. Meanwhile, is the country set for a government shutdown following rejection of the 2022 budget, or would lawmakers settle for vote of emergency funds for first quarter of next year? We'll explore. Also, Ecobank Ghana PLC describes actions by businessman Daniel Fori as, quote, misplaced measures and assures customers and shareholders of no cause for alarm following a garnishi of the bank's accounts at the Bank of Ghana. Details coming up. My name is Darryl Kwal. Thanks for being with us this Monday morning. Now, with barely 5 weeks to end the year, the Ghana cedi has come under intense pressure and is being classified among African currencies with the worst spot returns. It's now ranked 14th among 20 top African currencies tracked by Bloomberg. Charles Nexenboa looks at Bloomberg's data and what has been transpiring on the foreign exchange market.
A combination of factors, including increased corporate demand for the US dollar and the exit of the country's bond by some foreign investors, have put pressure on the local currency. The past week has been worse as the local currency lost more ground to the dollar. Bloomberg therefore put the depreciation of the cedi at 4.05%, though the Bank of Ghana data shows a lower decline in value of the local currency to the US dollar. Analysts warned the central bank to up its intervention on the forex market to reduce the rate of depreciation as the foreign investors want faster pace of fiscal consolidation going forward. Here is senior economic analyst with Data Bank Research, Courage Mate, who says there haven't been significant appetite for the government securities after the presentation of next year's budget.
In fact, our gauge of foreign investor sentiment around the budget shows that a lot of foreign investors feel like the faster pace of fiscal consolidation is necessary. However, they feel the revenue expectations are ambitious. And for that matter, they are very cautious on the outlook for the FX exposure they will take.
Meanwhile, the Zambian kwacha is the best performing currency in Africa so far this year. The Nigerian naira is, however, 13th, whilst the South African rand is 19th with a depreciation of 19.28%.
Charles Nexenboa there. So let's check the currency market for you this morning. The dollar going for 6 cedis 32 pesos is added 6 pesos from last Monday. The British pound going for 8 cedis 43 pesos. The euro selling this morning at 7 cedis 8 pesos. Now, government is expected to make some amendments to the proposed tax on electronic transactions, popularly called e-Levy. Joy Business is learning that the decision was taken even before last Friday's rejection of the budget by the minority in Parliament. We further understand that it was one of the resolutions reached at last week's cabinet meeting. Now, sources say government is considering scrapping the levy on inward remittances. In a related development, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has told Joy Business that government is committed to reaching a consensus with the minority in Parliament and stakeholders on the proposed tax measures announced in the budget.
The issue for us, we've always in budget, move by consensus. Go into committee, consider what people have said, and make various adjustments depending on its impact. So we've always been a very listening government, and therefore the lexicon of consultation, hearing, and ensuring that we do things right will continue. So it is in that spirit that we have listened to a lot of input from the citizenry and from the opposition.
You had the finance minister there, Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, former finance minister said Tekwe has advised government not to impose additional consumption taxes on Ghanaians. According to him, value-added tax, which is a service tax, can rather be reviewed to take care of any intended indirect tax or taxes instead of overburdening businesses with new taxes. Government introduced a 1.75% electronic transaction levy in next year's budget, which has been rejected by Parliament. This, though on business transaction will be borne by consumers. Now, speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Tekwe said the objective of VAT is to consolidate all taxes.
VAT is a consumption tax. And if you don't allow the business that pay the tax on inputs, they will add it to cost. So you allow them a credit and refund, especially for exports, so that we don't burden, that's what you call cascading in VAT. So if we had rationalized and all these taxes have been swept, under the VAT, then of course it comes to our point that if you have a new economy, bring it under the VAT. Don't go and duplicate another tax. That will be going back. Otherwise, we are not going to be making progress as a nation.
You had Sir Tekwe there, who is a former finance minister. So, worst case scenario. Would government, or is government now at risk of a shutdown, or would government request for an emergency fund to support its operations for the first quarter of 2022? Well, that's the question on the minds of many following Parliament's rejection of next year's budget without the majority. George Affe has been trying to get some answers in this report.
Service taxes were swept under VAT. Yes, we are CST. Maybe we overlooked this debate, so maybe the CST.
Clearly, in circumstances like this, government may have to look at the option of laying the budget statement again to address concerns that led to its rejection in the first place. But if government decides to stand its ground and not make any amends, then we might be left with two options. That is, requesting for some emergency financial support to cover government's operations from January to March next year, or shutting down government operations if they fail to reach some consensus in Parliament on this issue. However, following government's request to return to the House this week and first challenge the rejection, then it looks like we are in for the long haul. But according to the Financial Administration Act, that is, the budget statement must be approved before the House rises for the Christmas holidays or the end of this fiscal year. So if a consensus is not reached on this matter, then requesting for an emergency funding to run government business in the first 3 months of next year could be an option. That one also must be approved by Parliament. But looking at the way things are going, failure to reach a consensus on this issue, a government shutdown might not be ruled out as the last option. But could this uncertainty about government's business going forward because of development in Parliament come with some negative reaction from offshore investors, especially at the time that the economy is going through some challenges?
George Affe there with the worst case scenario, or should Parliament not reach a consensus on the 2022 budget? Away from the budget, EcoBank Ghana PLC has described actions by businessman Daniel Ofori as, quote, misplaced measures in a litigation with the businessman. In a press statement, the bank said the Ghanaian proceedings have been stayed pending the outcome of the application in the Supreme Court. It has therefore assured its customers and shareholders that there is no cause for alarm following a garnish of the bank's accounts at the Bank of Ghana in a litigation with the businessman Daniel Ofori. Here's an extract.
Last Friday, a bailiff posted a notice of attachment on EcoBank's head office building in enforcement of a court ruling, a video which was circulated. But EcoBank pointed out that this was simply a desperate and misplaced measure on the part of Daniel Ofori in light of the current proceedings before the Supreme Court. This is because its investigators show that Daniel Ofori had collected dividends running into millions of cedis, as well as bonus shares in respect of the same shares he had sworn on oath, both at the High Court and the Court of Appeal, that he had sold and therefore were not his. EcoBank therefore assures its cherished customers and shareholders that there is no cause for alarm and that it will pursue the matter to its logical conclusion in court. EcoBank Ghana, the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as the Ghana Stock Exchange, have been in court with Daniel Ofori for the past 13 years over a share trade transaction in 2008.
That was an extract from EcoBank Ghana PLC, a statement regarding litigation with businessman Daniel Ofori. Asset management firm Tessa Capital has introduced new collective investment schemes and a digital self-service application onto the investment market. According to his managing director, Eugenia Bashir, the new products are to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, and she points out that her outfit is committed to creating investment instruments that will motivate many Ghanaians to save.
Today marks another step forward in Tessa Capital's quest to making investing and the investment process easy and accessible to everyone. Investing should not be the preserve of a few affluent people. We aim to change the rhetoric by creating avenues for everyone, including those who do not have a lot, to create wealth through investments.
You had Eugenia Bashir there, Managing Director of Tessa Capital. Quick look at how your investments will fare this week. If Kwame Sabonso of Databank Research has the week's latest.
Based on the bids and offer dynamics outstanding on the floor of the Ghana Stock Exchange, we forecast Enterprise Group Limited to climb higher this week on the strong market demand. NTN, on the other hand, is tipped to shed some pesos. For Joy Business Reports, Ifeanyi Sabonso of Databank Research.
And let's check the commodity market for you. Crude oil dropped to $75.32 a barrel. Gold lost 76 cents to trade at $1,795.83 an ounce. Cocoa also lost a whopping $116 to trade at $2,396 a ton. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for listening. And Kojo Yankson is here with more of the Super Morning Show. How are you?